It's that time again. With Season 8 behind us, and after all the creative sight gags, lots of new character introductions, and some especially heartfelt lessons, we must ask ourselves the inevitable question. Which episodes left the most impact? Which stories will stand the test of time and keep bringing us back for repeated viewings even years down the road? I am Dr. Wolf, and this is part 1 of my top 10 best episodes of MLP Season 8.
'Cause rainbows won't light up the sky unless you let it rain, and shiny apples sometimes come with worms. But you can't give up your laughter 'cause you're scared of a little pain. It's a lesson that the Kieran never learned.
Number 10.
Yeah! Whoa! This must be just like flying!
Surf and/or Turf, alongside episodes like Tanks for the Memories, are perhaps the best examples the MLP series has where the lesson comes with a far deeper meaning than what is apparent on the surface. A story about a separated family is kept very much on the sidelines whilst the CMC are helping Telomere discover where he really belongs. And I think the episode is far better being presented this way rather than blatantly spelling everything out. Not to mention seeing Scootaloo so happy about swimming because it's probably the closest she'll ever get to the feeling of flying is both adorable and even a little disheartening at the same time. Top it off with a few bits of interesting world building and perhaps the best outing for the CMC in Season 8, and Surf and/or Turf makes for a worthwhile entry in the series.
It's a lesson that the Kieran never learned.
Number 9.
Really? Who's Fluttershy? Oh, did you name your shadow? Mine's called Silhouette Gloom of the Sundown Lands.
I am amazed at just how popular the Kieran have become in the Brony community. It is a wonderfully creative design based on a creature I had never heard of before this episode, but still, I can't remember the last time a new species in MLP had this level of popularity so quickly. But is that the only reason to enjoy Sounds of Silence? Far from it, in fact. Autumn Blaze is a delightfully cheery character with more than a few adorable quirks. Her song is perhaps the most catchy in all of Season 8. And while I wish that both sides of the issue had had more time to develop, I do appreciate what the writers were going for. Plus, I really want to see the pony version of Phantom of the Opera now.
It's a lesson that the Kieran never learned.
Number 8.
Welcome to Cyrus Hollow. Welcome to Cyrus Hollow. Welcome to Cyrus...
Okay, it's annoying. I get it.
We've certainly seen stories about overbearing parents in MLP before, and in some ways the parent map is following a few of the same beats. But what I admire most about this entry in the series is that while many other movies and shows introduce overly protective or overly intrusive parents for our favorite characters to contend with, MLP takes it a couple steps further than most. While we may have thought this setup was only to serve the lesson about reconnecting with family, we do learn that Firelight couldn't let go of treating Starlight like a filly because he wanted to remember her when she was happy, even to the point of being in denial about Starlight's more recent mistakes. And then there's Stellar Flare, who while at first seems like the perfectionist parent expecting her son to do far greater things, but when you think about it, since Sunburst had flunked out of magic school some time ago, you could understand the mindset of, well, if I don't help my child succeed at something, he may never move out of his comfort zone again. It's that extra layer of believable and even relatable emotional turmoil which really brings the parent map to a higher level of storytelling. And yeah, I still think Firelight appearing out of nowhere is a lot funnier than it probably should be.
It's a lesson that the Kieran never learned.
Number 7.
What? You gave up too easily.
Hey, you made me a guidance counselor.
That means tough love.
Perhaps the greatest change to the status quo in the entirety of the show's history, except maybe Alicorn Twilight. Still, adding so many new characters all at once while giving each of the main characters a new role is a bold move for a long-running series. And looking back now after Season 8 has come to an end, it's rather admirable that many of the elements set up in this season premiere actually led into more interesting aspects in future episodes. While I wouldn't go so far as calling School Daze a great episode, given the 20-plus characters that each had speaking roles in this Season 8 premiere, it's actually a bit impressive that the writers managed as much as they did. Each of the Student 6 had at least a brief moment of characterization that made us curious enough to see more, for which certain episodes afterwards made me really enjoy a select few of these new characters, but we'll get to those. Twilight's lesson of how we do something is not as important as why we do it was a unique entry in the series. And even though the MLP staff may not have intended this particular joke, it's still too funny to pass up.
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
It's a lesson that the Kieran never learned.
Number 6.
Now, just let me know if this is too much pressure.
Whenever I come across an episode with a lesson aimed far more at adults than for children while still keeping everything easily relatable for audiences of all ages, I admit I do tend to remember such stories for far longer. And A Rockhoof and a Hard Place makes for an excellent example of going above and beyond with its setup, its conflict, and especially its conclusion. Feeling as though you no longer have a place in the world would have been more than enough on its own. Centering that struggle on a legendary hero who is long past his prime makes this all the more unique. Showing that all his fellow heroes have adjusted to this new world far easier than we could have expected adds an even greater depth to the struggle. But following up with such an effective answer for that conflict which applies so well to real life? Marvelously well done. Throw in some adorable moments from Yona, which for many fans, including myself, has almost single-handedly made her the most interesting of all the Student 6, and I'm sure I'll be going back to watch A Rockhoof and a Hard Place again sometime in the near future. And that wraps up the first half of my top 10 list for MLP Season 8. Be sure to check out Part 2 by clicking the link in the video or in the description, and please let me know what you think about the list thus far in the comments below, along with any other episodes you believe deserve to be counted among the best this season has to offer. Until next time, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.